that should be fine. And then you can just zoom out.
It sounds like my house. The first are all on this one.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Emily Stafford, and today I will be giving a speech on 3 important elements of photography. Nowadays, it seems like anybody can be a photographer. Anybody can pick up a camera, snap a photo, and post it on Facebook. So what can you do to set your pictures apart from everybody else's? In order to take good photographs, you have to focus on 3 important elements that are lighting, exposure, and composition. There are 2 different kinds of lighting, natural light and artificial light. According to Hedgeco in 2003, natural light is most preferred by photographers, and it is dependent on the location of the sun in correlation to the subject. I'm sure you've heard of the golden hour, which is the best time to take pictures outdoors. It is the time frame directly after the sun rises and right before the sun sets. It's the best time to take pictures outside because the light is softer and not as harsh as when the sun is straight up in the sky. When you can't have natural light, the best kind of light is artificial. Artificial lighting is indoors or in a studio, and Hedgeco states that because lighting in a studio can often look unnatural, it is usually set up to resemble natural light. Now that we've talked about lighting, we can move on to exposure. Exposure is the amount of light that reaches the film or imaging device. Exposure can be controlled by shutter speed and aperture. In 2006, Kunz states that aperture controls the light that travels through the lens to the film pane. Aperture is indicated on the camera by the f number, which is called an f-stop. The higher the f number you have, the darker the picture because less light gets through to the film pane. As you lower the f number, it allows more light through, which creates brighter pictures. Aperture also controls depth of field. If you have a lower f-stop, you'll have a shallow depth of field, which means you have a sharp focal point with a blurry background. As you raise the f number, you have a larger depth of field, which creates the whole picture to be sharp. Shutter speed is very similar to aperture. Kunz describes shutter speed as how long the curtain is open, which is how long light can hit the camera's sensor. Shutter speed also controls whether items in the picture are blurry or not. For example, if you have a moving car, a faster shutter speed will cause the car to not be blurry because the camera takes the picture so quickly you can't even tell the car is moving. If you have a slower shutter speed, the car will be blurry because the car has time to move while the camera is taking the picture. Now that we've talked about exposure, we can move on to composition. There are many different rules to composition, but 3 of my favorites are the rule of thirds, symmetry, and framing. The rule of thirds, according to photographymad.com, is imagining your photos divided into 9 equal segments. This would be by having 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. Rule of thirds is my favorite because it really draws attention to the main focal point of the picture. I took this picture using the rule of thirds, and I often use the rule of thirds to take my pictures. Another rule of composition would be symmetry. Symmetry is really easy because there's symmetry all around us. Symmetry is very eye-catching and is very simple to achieve. For example, if you have 2 highways with bridges above them, that would be an example of symmetry. Another rule of composition is framing, which is also a good rule because your eyes are drawn to the main point of interest. Framing is also all around us. We have natural frames that would be archways, trees, or even holes. In a world where everyone is a photographer, it is hard to make your pictures stand out from theirs. If you want to take wonderful pictures, you need to understand all the rules of photography, especially lighting, composure, and exposure.